Okay, welcome to today's class. Today's class is going to be all about leases. Okay, the class will be in English. If there's anybody who does not understand English, then you are able to go to our YouTube, and in our YouTube channel, the lease class is there, and that lease class is in Spanish. But today's class is going to be in English. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Lease is one of probably the cornerstones of real estate. Okay, we will be doing a lot of leases, and we do like to start you guys off with leases so that everybody understands how to fill out contracts, how to do searches, how to speak to clients, how to negotiate with agents. And so I'll teach you all of that here. Okay, first off, what I want to show everybody is rental applications and a checklist. Okay. Hold on a second. Here it is. Okay, so this is the rental application. Okay, our rental application is pretty simple. It basically gives information on the applicant for the rental. Okay, general information, their name, their marital status. It does ask for social security number, but if they don't want to give it out, that's fine. They don't have to give it out. I would only suggest they give it out if we are going to be pulling their credit. Okay.
Can I
If we are,
interrupt you? Where did you find that at? That's on Form Simplicity.
so the rental application is in Form Simplicity, and I'll show you where later. But I have it in my email. So if you want me to email it to you, I can email it to you. Just on the chat, put your email address, and I'll go ahead and email it. Okay. So most rentals are going to require this rental application. Hold on a second. Most rental applications or most rentals are going to require this rental application, and it's just for the owner and for us to know who we're working with. Okay. They're going to want to know. Thank you, Margaret. They're going to want to know, how many people are living in the property, who else is going to be renting the property. And this is exactly what it tells them, right? It tells us their name, date of birth, where they currently live, okay? Other occupants that will be in the property. Tenancy history, current landlord, if they have one right now, and their information for the current landlord. Have they ever been evicted? Have they ever been arrested, charged, convicted of a felony? Okay. Very important, guys. If your client has ever had any sort of eviction or any sort of issues with the law, that they got arrested, okay, not a traffic ticket or nothing like that, but if they've ever been arrested or convicted for a felony or a misdemeanor, they must disclose that. Okay, they cannot just avoid saying that they didn't and then hope that nobody finds out. The associations, most rental properties do have associations, and they go through a very thorough background check. So if they find that they were arrested for something, even if it was 15 years ago, and they have placed on their application that they have never been arrested, that is essentially lying on a legal application, and will automatically, they will get denied. Okay, so please have them disclose any of that information. We can work with it. We can talk to the owner and see how we can get around it. There may be some challenges, but it's better than, lying, right? We don't want to lie on any application. Employment history, so where they work at the moment, how much they make, correct? Ballpark, regardless, we're going to get proof of income as well from them. So they can put their information here, and then some personal references, right? Some friends, family members that we can contact just to verify they are who they are, right? Do they have any pets, right? And then they sign it. Okay, so this is our rental application. And being that we can use this one whenever we're going to send an offer, okay? But there are other agents that have their rental applications attached to the listing. So if they have that, please fill out theirs. We can send them ours too, but they are going to ask you to fill theirs out as well. It's sometimes double the work, but you know it is what it is. Um, it's just the same information. So if you guys want to just transfer that information, from your client into their application, that's fine. And just have your client sign that. Okay. The other thing that I want to show you is, let's see if I have it here. Give me 1 second. Okay, is the rental checklist. Okay, the rental checklist is really for us. Okay, it was created by the company so that the company can give you an idea of what you should be expecting during this rental process. Okay, so we've already gone over that the client needs to fill out the rental application. Aside from that, we have to make sure that the client has the following items. Make sure the client has first month, last month, and a security deposit. Okay, 3 months up front is what we are looking for on any rentals. Okay, you may find some rentals that are 2 months that are only asking for first month and a security deposit, right? There's also rental communities that only ask for a deposit and a prorated first month. Or depending on how your credit is, they may ask you for 2 months of a deposit and a prorated month, or 1 month of a deposit. I mean, they all have their own rules and regulations. So there is another class for rental communities. And I do suggest you guys listen to that class so you know exactly what they're looking for. But for the most part, most rentals are looking for first, last, and security. Okay, 3 months. Aside from that, we also need a credit check. Okay, that credit check cannot be just a credit score. Okay, there are some agents that do accept just a credit score, but truth be told, that credit score can, if you've ever seen just a credit score, you'll notice that it doesn't have the client's name on there. So it could be anybody's credit score, and they just screenshotted it, right? So what we do require is a full credit report from the client. That full credit report they may get at Credit Karma. There's also the credit bureaus that they can go to print one out, which is Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion. They can log into one of those and pay for it. I think for one report they charge like $199 or something like that. Or maybe their bank offers a credit report that they can provide us, right? So you should ask your client to see if their bank does offer that option. So that is important. We do need full credit report from the client. Okay, a background check from a police station, preferably. Okay, now with this pandemic that's going on, the police station background checks are a little bit different now. Before, we used to be able to just walk in and provide information of the client, and we would wait 20, 30 minutes, and they would provide us a report. Unfortunately, with the pandemic going on, they do not want people waiting in the waiting rooms, right? So they are doing two things. You can request it online, and if you request it online with the client's information, I've put the online request website on the chats. So if anything, I'll go ahead and I'll put it back in the questions and answers chat if you guys need that. But that could take anywhere from 7 to 14 days to get the report back. Okay. So that is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is going to the actual police station and requesting an appointment to go in and pick it up. And those appointments are taking anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. So online may be quicker, but that is the difficulty right now with that. Okay, there's also other websites you can use that are national websites, and they are national criminal background checks. I use one that's very good. It's called criminalwatchdog.com. It does cost $12 or $18. I'm not 100% sure which one it costs. But it does give you an immediate national background check on the client. And by immediate, I mean you should have it within the hour after the client does the application and pays for it. Okay, so those are two ways you can get that background check, right? There's also another website that I use that's called mysmartmove.com, and that mysmartmove.com does allow for you to run a background check, a full credit report, and a national eviction check. Okay, it costs $40. You can send the link directly to your client. Your client can apply online, and they can pay for it with their credit card online, and you get the report within about 2 or 3 hours. It's a very good website. It's called mysmartmove.com. It is run through TransUnion, so it's from one of the major credit bureaus, and it definitely will give you what you need. Okay, so it costs $40 for the client to do it. And I do suggest you all go to mysmartmove.com and take a look at it so you can see how it works, okay? We're also going to need source of income, so proof of income. Okay, that proof of income can be one of three things. It could be the last 2 or 3 pay stubs that they've received from their job, okay, showing how much they get paid. Obviously, it'll have their name and it'll have the time frame that they get paid, right? Their cycle, their pay cycle. Or you can also get bank statements, the last 2 or 3 bank statements. That those bank statements show the direct deposits, right, from the clients. They could say, oh, I don't get paid with a check, I get direct deposit. It's fine, just please send me your bank statements showing those deposits going in, right? There may be other deposits that go in too, right? A lot of clients, or some clients, work jobs where they get paid through Venmo, or they get paid through Cash App, or Zelle, things like that. Well, the bank statements are going to show those deposits if they are depositing it into the bank, right? The third option would be a letter from their employer. Okay, that letter should have a letterhead. Okay, the letterhead should show the logo of the company they work for, the address, the phone number for the company, and it should be signed by their immediate supervisor or manager that works with them. Should dictate, or should state, how much they make a month, or how much they're making hourly, or how much they make annually, right? But something proving that they work at that property. I'm sorry, at that company. Okay, so those are 3 sources of incomes. Do not let your client tell you they cannot provide you a source of income. Okay, if they cannot provide you a source of income, 9 out of 10 chances or reasons is because it's illegal, right? We don't want that. But truth be told, they can give it to you. If they work for a legitimate company and they're getting paid cash under the table, that's fine. Show me the letter of the company stating that they understand, or that they can prove that this client works in that company. Okay. Copy of IDs, very important as well. It can be a driver's license. It could be a passport. Has to be a government issued ID, and it should be valid. Okay. Non-valid IDs do not work, so it should be valid. And the rental application, which we went over previously, right? So you'll see this is the documentation that we need from our clients in order to present an offer. Now, this is the basic information, right? The basic documentation that we need. Not all agents are going to require all of this, okay? Some agents will only tell you, hey, send me the offer, proof of income, and the background check, right? And that's fine. We can send them. Some agents will say, send me their IDs and their proof of income. That's fine. We can send it to them, with the offer. I have had one agent tell me, send me the offer and their IDs. That's it. And, it was one of the quickest rentals I've ever done in my life. And it was the greatest rental ever because I didn't have to worry about collecting all this information. So sometimes some rentals will be easier than others, but just make sure that you provide this information to your client so they are aware of what is going to be needed in order to present the offer. Okay. Now, that being said, one of the tips, or one of the things that I advise agents And it's something that I have done since probably about 3 or 4 months that I started working as a realtor, was that I asked my clients to please collect me the information before I show them the property. Okay? It is a difficult conversation to have. I'm not even going to lie to you about it. But if they're not giving you this information, there is no way that we can put in an offer. So if you show them the property and they absolutely love the property, well, we still need this documentation in order to send the offer. So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I need you to send me these documents. In the day or the 2 days that these documents are being sent to you, it could be that other agents who are prepared went to go see that same property and put the offer in before us because we don't have the documentation that we need to put the offer in. So now we lose an opportunity for our clients, and essentially we wasted our time too, right? So I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my client's time. What I tell the client is, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, I am not doing my job properly if I am not asking you for these documents. Because in order to send the offer in for the property you want, I need to provide this documentation with the offer. That'll guarantee us that we will be first in line to make an offer to this property. Okay? If I do not receive these documents, I suggest we don't go see the property. Okay? If you want to see the property, that's fine. It's not that I don't want to show you the property, but there's no way I can guarantee that you're going to get this property without these documents. So I need your help just as much as you need my help. We can do this together, or it will be a battle all the way through, right? So most clients understand. They take that, to heart, and they go ahead and send me the documents, right? I don't need all the documents. Obviously, I know the background check is going to take some time, right? But send me there. I know for sure you can get me that credit report quickly. I know for sure you can get me your proof of income quickly. I know for sure you can get me the copies of your IDs quickly, right? And I know for sure you can fill out this rental application for me. I got 4 out of the 5 documents that I need, which is great. So let's go with that, right? That 5th document is going to be the background check. I can always negotiate with the other agent, telling them, hey, listen, this is a situation with the background check. They have assured me that they're clean, that they have no problem. We've already requested it. It's going to take a few weeks, but let's move forward with this. If there's an association, at the end of the day, the association is going to run their own background check, and it's probably going to come in quicker than us waiting for the Miami-Dade Police Department to send us theirs, right? So that is my suggestion to you guys. It is not a concrete guarantee that you will get the rental by doing it, but it significantly increased my odds in getting rentals approved when I requested the documentation before showing. Okay, so I'll give that to you guys as a tip. You do what you want with it. If you guys feel more comfortable doing it your way, that's perfectly fine too. There is no right way to do this. There is only the way that you feel most comfortable getting it done. Okay, so any questions on the checklist and the rental application that we went through right now? Okay, great. So let's go to the searches of rentals. Okay, I'm going to show you how to search for rentals. Okay, searching for rentals in Matrix, right? You will just have to go to the search icon on the top, okay, and look for where it says RNT Res Rental. Okay, that means residential rental. Okay, anything that is residential will be under this list or this search field. Okay, whether it's a rental of a condo, rental of a single family home, rental of a mobile home, rental of a duplex, anything that's a rental will be here where it says residential rental. Okay, If for any reason you get a client who is looking for a rental on a commercial side, okay, that would be found where it says commercial improved, okay, which is this one. What you do is you click that, and on the search field, you'll see transaction type. It'll say lease or sale. Okay, so if it's a rental of a company or a commercial property, you and it's a rent, you're gonna click where it says lease here, and then you fill out your search criteria with what they are looking for. Okay, but I'm not gonna focus on commercial rentals. I'm gonna focus on residential rentals. But I did want to show you guys that so you have an idea of how to search for rentals that are for commercial. Okay, so going back to residential rental, this is our criteria. Okay, the system is extremely precise on whatever you're putting on this search field, right? So if I am searching for a property that is, let's say, $1,400, if I only put $1,400 on the price field, my search matches are going to come up strictly on properties that are worth $1,400. That's it. I won't see anything less than that. Okay, so in order to make sure that I'm doing a good search, if I'm looking up to 1,400, I'm going to put the negative sign here. Okay, and that negative sign is going to show me everything that is from $1,400 or less. Okay, you'll notice here I'm already 750, right? 900, right? Obviously, I've just put price. I haven't put area, but that is how the system works. Okay, so that negative there is going to show me everything up to 1,400. You can also do a range. So let's say your client says, "Oh, I can do anything from 1,300 to 1,500." Okay, so you're gonna put 1,300, range 1,500. Okay, and now that is going to give you the range of things that are available within 1,300 and 1,500. When I click the result, you'll see it starts off at 1,300, and the list will go through, the 1,400 and the 1,500, so on and so forth, right? Now, there's obviously a lot of properties within 13 to 1,500, correct? We haven't even done a criteria on what exactly it is we're looking for, okay? But so far what we have is whatever's available, which is active, between 1,300 and 1,500, okay? And now we go to the bedrooms. So let's say we're looking for anything between, let's say 2 bedrooms, right? I need 2 or more bedrooms, okay? So you're gonna put 2 and plus, okay? Putting 2 and plus will give you 2 or more bedrooms. Give me 1 second, please. Sorry for that delay, guys. I had an important phone call I had to take there. Okay, so going back to the search, right? We're going from 1,300 to 1,500. 2 or more bedrooms. Bathrooms, they can tell you, oh, 1 or more. That's fine. You could put 1 or more, right? You'll notice as every time I put something in here, the matches start to change, right? So 2 or more, let's go 2 or more full bath. That goes down to 8826, right? But we haven't put an area where we want, right? So this client can tell you, okay, I'm interested in the Broward County area, okay? So let's click on Broward County. Now we're up to 342, right? In Broward County, there is a lot of HOPA properties, okay? HOPA is Housing for Older Persons Act, okay? This person may not be an older person, right? We have hopefully their rental application and it's said their date of birth. But that's a question you can ask them. Okay, hey, are you looking for a community of over 55 or anything like that, right? There's nothing wrong asking for that. They'll say, no, I'm not 55. I need a regular place. Okay, no problem. Now, the reason I say that is because those locations are very strict on making sure that they have a client that is 55 or over, and they will not allow anybody to live there that is under 55. So while it's a great price, it may not be suitable for your client. Okay, so how you verify that is on the additional fields section. Okay, in additional fields, you're gonna see a button that says add if you've never used it, or if you've already used it and added additional fields, it will say add remove. Okay, when you click on that, it'll give you options that you can include in the search criteria. Additional options and additional fields that are not in the normal field search, right? So this is what I have allowed. If you guys want to take a screenshot, please do so. And this is usually what most renters are looking for additionally to what um, the main search asks for, right? So do they have pets, right? You want to be able to search to make sure that it allows pets. Okay, minimum lease period. Maybe they're not looking to rent for a year. Maybe they're looking to rent for 7 months or 8 months, right? Now, that becomes a little bit tricky, okay? In the MLS, um, not many people are going to advertise less than 6 months, okay? 6 months is usually the cutoff. You may find some places in the Brickell area or Miami Beach that do advertise 3 months or less, but they're very few and far between. And the reason is because Airbnb has really taken over that short-term rental market, um, and it is an additional cost for renters, or I'm sorry, for landlords to rent a property less than 6 months and a day. Okay, their taxes actually go higher because it becomes a tourist tax that they have to pay. So you won't see very many properties being rented for less than 6 months in the MLS. Okay, but the option is still there to search for it in case you're looking for it. Okay, furnished info. Is there furniture in the property, right? Seasonal rent, right? HOPA, gone over. This is Housing for Older Persons Act, right? This is to see if a community has that restriction. Number of stories. Some people don't want to live in the second floor and the third floor. They just want to live on the first floor, right? And if the listing agent has provided that information, we will see some listings that state um, that it's only on the first floor. Okay. Room description. Some people want a room on the first floor, right? It could be a 2-story townhouse, and it'll say, master bedroom on the first floor. Approval information. This is one that I love to use. It is the approval information if there is or there isn't an association. Okay, there isn't a way of finding something that says association here, okay? But this approval information will let you know if the property has an association or not. Obviously, if it says none, there are no association approvals, right? It could say other, right? You can check on other too, and those could be an approval strictly from the owner, no association, right? So that is a good one to have. Remarks are based on what the remarks the agent is putting on the property, right? Rent includes, some people may ask you, hey, I need my rent to include water, okay? Or I need my rent to include electricity. Here's the option to be able to write that in, okay? And move-in dollars. Why do I have this one in? Because as I mentioned before, most rentals are usually 3 months up front. But some people will tell you, I don't have 3 months, right? I can do up to $1,500 a month, but I only have 2 months. Well, now we know that their move-in dollars is $3,000, right? We can plug in that number where it says move-in dollars, and it'll show us how many properties are available with a move-in cost of $3,000, right? It may not be what the client wants, but this is what's available under their budget, okay? So once you cross those over and you go back, you'll see those additional fields here, right? So we've made clear here the client's looking for something of $1,300 to $1,500, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths or more in Broward County, and they are not 55 or over. So we want to make sure in HOPA we put no HOPA, and that's going to take away the properties that were HOPA. Okay. Um, how about no approvals? Let's see. There's something with no association. There's only 3 properties in the MLS right now in Broward that are showing that there are no approvals. Right? How about other approvals? Let's see what. Yeah, 4. See, we get 1 more that comes up. So we can basically um, agree that these 4 here are not going to have association approvals. Okay. Um, but we still don't know the area they're in. We just know that they're in Broward County. Okay. Um, so that is just so that you guys see how to search for no association. Okay. But let's just stick to these 246 so we have a little bit more to work with. Okay. And your client tells you, hey, I need water to be included. Okay. Here's the water. We click on it. So it only advises, it'll only show us if the agent actually has put that in the listing. Okay. A lot of the search field that we have here is based on what the agent can put in the listing. If the agent has not placed it in the listing, it could lead us to a path where we don't have anything, right? So let's see, sewer. Yeah, see, so it doesn't say anything. Some of them would probably say how, yeah, nothing. Okay, perfect. So let's go with these 246, okay? And now, the search for the area, you can do it a few different ways, okay? You can search through the city if you want, okay? If you know the city that they want to live in, you can put it here, right? Let's go with Plantation, okay? And it'll show up Plantation, and when you click on it, it'll say 13 matches, right? The problem with the city is that Plantation and Sunrise are pretty close to each other. I'd say they're maybe, I don't know, 10 miles away or something like that. It's not that far away, right? When we put Sunrise, it's going to give you 15, right? So then in Plantation, I had 14, and Sunrise, I had 15. That's 30 properties, right? I don't like to use the city simply because it kind of restricts me from the area that I'm looking for, right? It's a possibility that this client may be interested in Sunrise, you know, because it's close to Plantation. So how I like to search is on the map. Okay, the map is just like this search criteria. The map is extremely precise on what it is you're looking for, right? So the closer we get to the map, the closer we're going to get to the cities and the streets and avenues in the map, right? So as I was explaining to you, Sunrise is right there, and Plantation is right there, right? It's not that far away. So if I put Plantation, it may only show this part of what I'm looking for, but just 5 or 10 minute drive away, now I got all of these as well, right? So we want to make sure that we're going to give the client as many options as possible. So how do we figure out which area we're looking for? We can use these icons up here, okay? Let's say the client has a specific location and they tell you, okay, I need to live at least 5 miles away from Fort Lauderdale Airport. Okay, let's say that. That's a good um, what is a landmark. Okay, so we're in Fort Lauderdale here. Let's see if we can find the airport. So there it is. Okay, so here's Fort Lauderdale Airport, right? The client tells you, I need to live at least 5 miles away from Fort Lauderdale Airport. Well, this circle right here is an actual radius that you can utilize. Okay, so if I click on that and I bring down and I put it right in the right next to Fort Lauderdale Airport, I can now extend up to 5 miles. See, the miles there are showing me. So when I let it go, now I have a radius of 5 miles from Fort Lauderdale Airport. And I have 15 properties that I can send my client. Okay? But let's say my client tells me, okay, look, I'm really looking for the Plantation, Sunrise area. You know, I would like to live 5 miles away from Fort Lauderdale Airport because that's where my job is. But I would like to live in that area as well if I can't find something next to Fort Lauderdale. Hey, no problem. Now we can use this square right here, and we can go through Sunrise and the Plantation area, right? Let's let it go. And now we have a search field of 5 mile radius from Fort Lauderdale, and we have an area in Sunrise Plantation that they like too. Right now, there's a lot of properties. There's 54 properties here. That's a lot to send to them. Okay, but as you can see in this map, you are able to do multiple searches for your client. Okay, let's say your client even tells you, hey, you know what? I don't mind living in between Fort Lauderdale Airport and Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport. You know, but I don't want to live, like, I really don't want to live in the Oakland Park area. I want to live in between Fort Lauderdale Airport and Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, but not the Oakland Park area. So we don't want this area here, right? You know, but we want this area here. You see this pen? You can click on this pen and you can just go like that and make the circle in the area, and it will make a free form search field on the map. Okay, so the map is extremely useful. Okay, it helps pinpoint exactly the area your client is looking for. Okay, so I would suggest to get familiar with this map and get familiar with these tools so you can see how to search quickly with them. Okay, any questions on how to use the map or how to do the search for the rentals? Nope. Okay, perfect. So let's say now we have 50, right? So that's a lot of properties. We don't really want to send 50 properties to our clients. I usually would like to send anywhere from 15 properties or less, right? Because there's a possibility those clients are so desperate to rent somewhere that they're going to say, I want to see all 20 or I want to see all 30. And really, we don't have the time to show them 30 properties in one day. Okay. Each showing of each property can take roughly between 20 to 45 minutes, not including the drive time it takes to get to each property. Okay. If I have properties that are all in the same building, I don't mind showing them 5 or 6 properties in the same building because I'm not driving anywhere and they're all in the same building. But if I have to drive, 5 miles to each location, you can expect to have at least a 30-minute showing per person, per property. So at that point, 4 properties that you show is going to take you 4 hours. Okay, 3 to 4 hours. So again, I like to send 15 or less properties, right? So how do I lower the search criteria now, right? Well, I have the Bass, I have Broward, I have the price range. Okay, I've already put the area they're looking for. So Mr. or Mrs. Client, do you want a large property or do you want a small property, right? Large property could be anything over 1,000 feet. Small property would be anything less than 1,000 feet, right? So, and they say, no, I don't really want anything big, just something that has 2 bedrooms, an apartment's fine. So let's put 1,000 or less, right? Now that 50 has switched to 18 properties. 18 properties I can work with, right? So now let's go to results. Here are my 18 properties. I have from 1,300 to 1,500 and some in between, right? They're all 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and they're all less than 1,000 square feet or 1,000 or less, right? Now, I do not go one by one to look at the properties unless there is something specific that my client is looking for. For instance, my client may say, I need to make sure the property has a washer or dryer in the property, right? At that point, yes, I will go one by one, not necessarily looking at the pictures, but reading to see if it includes washer and dryer. If you go down here to additional information, the equipment appliances will tell you what equipment and appliances there are. This one doesn't show washer and dryer, it just shows me refrigerator, electric range. Okay. Now, sometimes the agent may not write it on the listing, so it is necessary to go through the pictures to see if you see a washer and dryer. I do not see a washer and dryer here, so chances are the listing agent did properly write down what appliances were included. Okay. Um, the reason why I do not like going through the pictures is because we are creatures of habit. We like a certain look of things, right? We may like the modern look. We may like the contemporary look. We may like the old-fashioned look, right? So if we're looking at pictures and we say, oh, wow, this is nice. This is, it's nice and painted. I like the tile. Oh, look at those little plantation shutters that it has on the kitchen window. That's really nice. I like that. I like the lights. I'm going to send this one to the client, right? But we don't know what the client likes. We're not looking, we're looking for the client for what they want, not for what they like, okay? So looking at these photos will put us in a situation where we may be sending them something that they don't like, right? So if we send it to them based on how we are liking something, we may lose that client, okay? Give them all the options. So there's 18 properties here. You know what? Let's send all 18. You can click here where it says all, and it'll check all 18, okay? See the check marks? All 18 are checked. And at that point, we can send it to the client, okay? Or we go through the pictures to see and to make sure that it has, not the pictures, I'm sorry, washer and dryer, right? Electric smoke detector, nothing. See, this one doesn't have the equipments. It doesn't say what equipment is in there, so at this point we have to go through it. But we're not going through it to see if we like it. We're going through it to see if there's a washer and dryer. And hey, look at that. Washer and dryer here. Perfect. Let's send this one, right? And then we go next. Does this one have a washer and dryer? Does that look like one over there? No. I think you guys catch my drift. Okay, so washer and dryer, but this isn't inside the community. This is actually, communal washer and dryer, right? So, and it says it here, laundry facility, right? So we know it's not inside the property. But I think you guys catch my drift on why we're looking at the pictures and why we're reading the listing, okay? So let's send all the properties to the client, okay? But before I send it, I want to go over the listing, right? I want you guys to understand what it is you're reading when you're doing the listing, okay? So the listing will always present itself in this manner, okay? The first part is the residential rental itself. What is the rental? Okay, this is the property address of the rental, okay? This is the ML number, so the MLS number, the property ID for the MLS, okay? What the list price is, okay? This is what they're asking for, $13.85 a month, okay? You will see M here, you will see Y here. M is month, Y is year, okay? They're both considered monthly rentals, okay? The one that says W would be a weekly rental. So if you ever see the W here, that means it's per week. So please be careful sending those to your client. You may see a beautiful one and it'll be at a price that's amazing. Please make sure that this does not say W. If it does, that means it's a weekly rent, okay? Then it's going to give you the status of it. Is it active? Is it available? Okay. What county it's in. This is the name of the real estate company that is listing the property, right? So the brokerage. The geographical area and the legal description of the property is here. How many bedrooms, how many baths, how many square feet living area, and the year that it was built. Okay. It's also going to give you down here what information the property has. Is it an unfurnished property or is it furnished? This one is unfurnished. Okay. Then you'll see under the pictures on some listings this recent document or this recent scripture here. Okay. This will say that on August 26th, okay, which was about a week ago or so, maybe two, the price was $114.50 and it decreased to $13.85. Okay, this is a great tool for us because what does it let us know? It lets us know that the owner at this point needs to get this place rented. Okay, so they've dropped the price, which means we are now in a position to be able to negotiate even further. Okay. So that's a good thing. You may want to be on the lookout for that when you see a listing, okay? Then the location information. It's really numbers, more or less, township range. I'm sure you guys all remember that from the test that you guys took. But this is just basically telling you what schools are available in the area if they've provided that information. By they, I mean the listing agent, right? General information, okay? What type of property is it? You know, garage, they usually make this a big problem. It's not really a garage, it's two parking spaces, okay? A garage is basically if there's an actual garage, okay? So a lot of this is based on what the listing agent puts. They may put it in locations that are not correct, but this one does show two parking spaces. So we know that we have two parking spaces, right? HOPA, Housing for Older Persons Act, no HOPA. Okay, that doesn't mean association. That means that it's not a Housing for Older Persons Act. Okay, when is it available? It's available 8/15, which means it's available right now, right? No waterfront. There is a pool. It's a community pool. It's an 8x10. I'm sure it's a little bigger than that, but you know, you got to put a dimension there. And then what type of floors are there, right? Tile floors. Then you go to the remarks. The remarks are what the agent is saying about the property, right? We got great condo, 2-bed, 2-bath, third floor entry, tile floor, screened balcony looking at the pool, excellent location off of Davie Road near NSU College, minutes from Hard Rock Casino and Florida Turnpike, close to everything, right? And then it gives you some driving directions. Then it shows you this broker remarks, okay? The broker remarks cannot be seen by your client. So when you send this property to your client, don't worry about them seeing the broker remarks. They will only see remarks and driving directions, okay? The broker remarks are going to tell you specifically, the other agent, a little bit of an important information. Agents, please make sure to submit contract to lease, the rental application, clear copies of IDs, proof of funds, proof of income, background, credit report, and if you want to show the property, text the listing agent. And here's the phone number. Okay, so there you go. That's the information the agent is letting us know that we need to show. Okay. Then we go to additional information. Is there any additional information? Hey, yeah, pets allowed? No, no pets are allowed. Third floor entry. This is the equipment that it comes with. Okay, there's also a screened balcony. There's an amenity, right? There's a clubhouse, community pool, elevator, and a laundry facility. Okay, it's as is. There's an electric water heater. Lawn pool maintenance is covered by the association. Okay, the owner the agent of the property? No, the owner is not the agent. Right? And there's a few other items here which the agent omitted, doesn't have here. So we don't have to worry. I mean, obviously sometimes we want to know these things, but if they're not here, the only way to find out is by actually contacting the agent to see if they can advise us of that information, right? Then the rental information, right? We have here minimum lease period, 365. We know that it can only be rented for a year, no less than a year. Is it a renewable rental? Yes, it is a renewable rental. The application fee to the association is $100. This is usually $100 for one of three things. $100 per applicant, adult applicant, $100 per matrimony, or $100 per application, right? It all depends on what the association wants. So this $100, please let your client know, hey, it could be $100 just for the application, or it could be $100 per person, depending on what the association has. We won't know until we get that application from the association, and we don't get that until we get an approval from the owner. Okay, so is it a renewable rental? Yes. Is there an approval period? Yes. The approval period is from 1 to 2 weeks. The association has to approve. Okay, the rent pay includes pool maintenance, waste, water, sewer, and yard maintenance. So we know now that the 1385, okay, is including this maintenance and these utilities. Okay, rent deposit, which is this 4,255, includes first month, last month, and a security deposit. Okay, so those are the 3 months. Heat and central cooling, right? It's a central AC, central air conditioning that also includes heat, right? Then we go to the last section, which is the agent office information. Okay, we have the agent's phone number right here. Okay, we have the agent's email and their license number right here. We have the agent's name and we have the agent's company. Okay, we have the phone number to the agent's company. Why am I stressing that point so much? We need to get in contact with this agent if we want to see this property. Okay, it has said it on the remarks. Please contact listing agent, right? And if we're ever going to send an offer, we need to be able to send it to an email. So we have that here, right? So let's say we text the agent doesn't answer us. We text again, agent doesn't answer us. We call them, leave a message, agent doesn't answer us. We need to find out a way to get into this property, right? The agent's not answering us. Well, what can I do? Well, I
Call the
have the phone
brokerage.
number to the office of the agent. If it's within office hours, let's go ahead and call this phone number and let's say, hey, office, my name is Albert from Real Estate Empire Group, and I'm trying to get in contact with your agent, Ingrid Castillo. I've been texting her, I've been calling her, she doesn't answering me, she's not answering me, and I really need to show this property that you guys are listing. Can you please help me? I guarantee you that at that point, they will help you. They will have the information of how to show the property and give it to you. Or the broker will hear about this and contact Mr. or Mrs. Castillo and let them know, hey, you need to speak to this person. You need to give them the information to show this property. Okay, and at that point, you will get that information. But you must be persistent, okay? It's not about doing it one time and just saying, oh, that's it. No, you have to be persistent when you are trying to show a property. And the same way when you are trying to get in contact with a client, okay? Persistence is key in this company. In this career, okay? If you're not persistent, believe me, there's another agent that is more persistent and is going to get that client or is going to get the showing for the property, okay? So please be persistent in everything that you do with real estate, okay? Here's a good part, buyer agent compensation. Here's just half month, transaction broker half month, right? So it's basically saying if you bring me the client, I am going to share my commission by half a month. Okay, so that would be our commission, half month. How do you figure that out? 1385, if that's what you're gonna offer, divided by 2, that's what your commission is gonna be, $692.50. Obviously, there's a split within the company and you, then you just multiply that split off that amount, and that's what your commission is going to be, okay? Then it gives you some information down here of what the previous price was, what the original price was, occupancy. It says annual, but it should say whether or not somebody is living there right now. Days on market, DOM, 69 days on market. It's been on the market for over 2 months. That this owner is desperate at this point. They've lowered the price. It's been on the market for over 2 months. I need to get this rented. This is a good property to do a negotiation on, right? So that is a listing, and this is what a listing looks like, okay? If you want to try, if instead of calling this client, this particular listing says to please text the agent for showing, right? But if it doesn't say that, you can go and show the property by clicking down here where it says showing time. Okay? Sorry. And in showing time, when you click it, it's going to take you to this website. Oh, look at that. Showing time is down. Okay. Well, showing time is down right now, so I can't show you showing time. But usually when you click showing time, it will give you the option to schedule the showing. You'll be able to pick what day you want to go, what time you want to go. It'll then send an email to the listing agent and a text message for them to get in contact with you. Okay, but even doing that, you're still going to need to be persistent with the agent to be able to get the showing. Okay, guys? So, any questions on how to read a listing? All right. So we've gone over what you need from your client. We've gone over how to do a search. We've gone over looking at the map. We've gone over what a listing looks like. Okay. Um, so now I want to go over how to send these listings to your client. Okay. So as we mentioned before, we have here the all the properties, right? We want to send these 18 properties to them. You can click here. You can first click off the ones you want to send, right? And then click here on email. Okay, that's going to open up the email page where you're going to put the client's email address. You can write the subject, available rentals, and the body of whatever the rental is. Okay, then you're going to go ahead and press send, and it's going to automatically send them an email to an MLS portal. Okay, that is the portal that is going to show them the properties that you're sending. Okay, the other thing you can do is if your client is telling you, yeah, I'm looking for a rental, but I really can't rent until December, right? Well, we're in September right now. The properties that you're going to be able to show them right now are not going to be available in December. But you want to keep this client, right? Maybe, yeah, I really don't have to move to December, but if there's something that I find that I really like, I may just break the lease and then move to that, right? So you want to give this guy updates on what's coming in new to the property, or this lady updates on what's coming new to the market, right? So how do we do that? Well, instead of just sending email, we're going to click the save button. And in this save button, we're going to click new auto email. Okay, and that new auto email is going to allow us to create a new contact right here. Okay, and this is where we're going to put the client's information, right? So their first name, last name, email address. Then you save, subject, available rentals, right? This will give them a little message, welcome to the portal. This is, all the messages I send you will go in here. You'll be able to see all the properties in the search field, right? And then you'll notice here criteria. It says this page saves below the criteria that you put. Well, the criteria was residential rental is available within this areas in Broward County within these current prices, 2 beds, 2 bath, and a square foot living area of 1,000 or less. No HOPA. So all of the search criteria that we did prior is saved on this page. And now we can send them properties on any day we want. The system will automatically send it to them. I like to send it to them twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. Mondays, it'll show everything that came in new during the weekend. And on Fridays, it'll show them everything new that came in during the week. So they'll get 2 emails weekly, right? And at that point, they'll be seeing everything that comes into the new search field every week. Your name will show up in their email every week, and they will see, even though it's not you sending it to them, it's the system sending it to them, they will see that your name is the one that is showing them the interest on what they're looking for. And when they find something that they like, they're going to call you. And they're going to say, hey, you sent me this email. It's, I really like the property that's there. Can we go see it? And at that point, in order to find out what property that is, here on my matrix, there's a link that says auto email. And when you click on it, it's going to give you the latest auto emails that have been sent. You'll know the client you're talking to, and you'll be able to click the link that was just recently sent to them, and you'll be able to see the properties. All right. So that's how you send properties. And that is how you can send automatic emails to your clients as well. Okay. So we've gone over the searching. We've gone over the sending to your client. Your client now tells you, hey, I'm interested in the property. Let's go see it. Let's say that we have already collected the information from the client. We go and we see the property. The client absolutely loves the property and tells you, I'm ready to send an offer. This is the offer we're going to send, to this property, the 1385, and we're going to offer them 1300. Okay, this is a property I like. I want to offer them 1300. Okay, perfect. So to send the offer, okay, we're going to go into the actual listing of the property. Okay, this is the listing. This is the one they like. And now we're going to go right here to this box that says FS. Okay, this box is going to take us to form simplicity. Okay, that's where we're going to find the offer for the property. So we're going to click the FS. It's going to take us to this page. Okay, in this page, we are going to put the following information. We're going to put the seller landlord's name here. How do we find out the seller landlord? Well, in the listing itself, there's going to be a folio number. There's also this little world that says IMAP. Okay, if you click on either one of those, okay, and you open in a new tab, it's going to take you to IMAP, and that IMAP is going to reflect the name of the current owner. Okay, so this is the current owner here, which is S&J Envoy Inc. Okay, and now we're going to go back to the form simplicity, and we're just going to paste that there. Okay, then we're going to go down a little more to buyer tenants. Who's the buyer tenant? Well, that's your client, right? Your client is a buyer tenant. So let's go ahead and just put me, Albert S. And I'm going to put 3 people, okay? And I'll show you why not. Albert MS and Al S, right? So there's the 3 people that are going to be on contract, right? Then we're going to click down here, this green button that says Save to a Transaction. When we click that, it's going to open up this dialog box. And here we're going to put property type, residential, right? Because that's what it is. And then enter a transaction name. We can click this box and it'll save it under the address of the property. Or you can put whatever name you want, guys. Right? Test, rental, offer. Okay? Transaction type, is it a lease, listing, purchase? It's a lease. It's a rental, right? And now we're going to save to new transaction. Okay? Once we click that save to new transaction, this is the page that's going to show up. It's going to show us a picture of the property that we have, okay, that we're using, the address, and it's going to give some information that we've put in there, right? To find the offer, you're going to go down here where it says forms, and you're going to click add form. Okay, when you add form, this little dialog box will come out. Just click on where it says from the blank forms library. Okay, and at that point, in this search, you're just going to put the word lease. Okay, when you press enter, the first one that will pop up is the contract to lease. That is the offer for the rental. You're going to click that. And here is what your offer looks like. Okay, you'll notice that the name of the landlord or the owner has already translated into the document, and the name of the people who will be signing are all also translated into the document. We also already have the address of the property here. Okay, so a few things are already filled out for us. The rest of the things, I'm going to show you now what it is you're filling out. I'm going to explain it to you so you understand why you are filling out what you're filling out, so you're able to advise your client on why it is that they are signing this, okay? So number 1 says parties, S&J Envoy Inc. who is the prospective landlord, and whatever your client's name, who are the prospective tenants, agree to execute a lease agreement no later than today's the 8th, okay? We don't want to wait more than 2 days for an answer. So let's say September 10th, okay? By September 10th, we will execute a lease agreement. This is not a lease agreement. It says it right here, guys. This is not a lease. Okay, a lease should be signed before occupancy. So we're saying that in 2 days, we want to have a lease already for this property. Okay, the lease is going to include all the terms that are set forth in this offer. Okay, and any other mutually agreeable terms. Okay, that means we are sending an offer based on what our prospective tenant wants, but the landlord may want something as well. So if we mutually agree to those terms, it's going to be included in the lease as well. Okay, the person that will prepare the lease is going to be the landlord. Okay, so that's what that number 1 says. Number 2, the deposit. With the intention of entering into the lease with the landlord, the tenant has paid. Here's where you're going to put the offer of the property. The client said he wanted to offer $1,300. We're going to put $1,300. And we, in Real Estate Empire Group, have a escrow account. So we are going to hold the first month of escrow, or the first month rent, which is going to be the escrow. That first month is also our commission. Okay, so we're going to hold that first month in Real Estate Empire Group. And what I put next to this is upon lease agreement signing. Right? So this is telling the other agent and the owner, hey, the tenant is going to pay $1,300 to Real Estate Empire Group upon lease agreement signing. Not upon this one, but upon the one that we need. Okay? And then it just says the execution of the lease by both parties, then party authorizes the deposit holder, which is Real Estate Empire Group, to transfer the deposit according to the landlord's instructions, and the landlord will credit the deposit, due to paragraph 5 below, right? Where it says here. Number 3, the property address. No explanation needed. That's the address of where the property is. The property will be furnished or unfurnished. It's going to be unfurnished, okay? The property is going to be used for residential purposes and occupied by only the tenant and the following persons, okay? If you notice, the word tenant is in bold. The word tenant here is also in bold. That means that this is the tenant. So here in this line, we are going to write the names or the other people that will be living in the property but are not named as a tenant. Okay? So I don't have to put Albert again in this line, but I can put 2 children, right? If there's going to be 2 children living there. Or I can put, I don't know, John Doe, right? Which is my uncle, right? Is going to be living in the property too, right? I can put Jane Doe, which is my mother-in-law, right? So these people are not on the contract, but they will be living in the property as well, okay? So that's what that line is saying, okay? Number 4 is the lease term. How long will the lease be? Well, the lease is going to be 1 year. So what we're going to do is we want to start September 30th, right? That's the day of our move-in. And it's going to be for 1 year. So 1 year is always 1 day less and 1 year more, okay? That's all. That's how you're going to write 1 year term. September 30th, 2020 to September 29th, 2021. Okay? Then it says on number 5, money due before occupancy. Okay, this line right here, you'll notice is not in blue, so I cannot type anything here. But anything I type in these numerical lines here is going to sum up the amount here. So here it's saying tenant will pay the sum of blank in accordance to this paragraph before occupying the property. The tenant will not be entitled to move in or to the keys of the property until all the money is due before occupancy has been paid. If no date is specified below, the funds will be due prior to occupancy. Okay, before occupancy. So, first month's rent, right? 1,300. Notice the 1,300 appeared here, right? When is it due? Here you can place a date or you can write in script. So I like to place here upon lease signing. Right? What does that mean? Just like I put up here, upon lease agreement signing, that first $1,300 is going to be deposit. Well, we know that deposit to Real Estate Empire Group is the first month, and we also know it's our commission. So we're placing here that the first month's rent of $1,300 will be due upon lease signing, and it's going to Real Estate Empire Group. Okay? Then it's going to say down here last month's rent. Last month's rent is going to be $1,300 too, right? You'll notice now this $2,600 is being summed up here, right? It's being added up here. So that's going to be, you can either put September 30th, which is the move-in date, or you can write move-in date. I like to write move-in date because if there is an association and the association approves prior to the move-in date that we have asked for, at that point we can already move in. So if your client gets approved, say September 26th, and they say, hey, you know what, I'd like to move in tomorrow, can we get that done? And you call the agent and the agent says, sure, we can move in tomorrow, just make sure he has the checks ready and we'll do a walkthrough tomorrow. Well, at that point, if we put move-in date here, we know this is the date at that point where the client needs to provide those $1,300, okay? Same thing with the security deposit. $1,300, move-in date, okay? If, for any reason, there's a security deposit for the association and it's been told to us, we're going to put the association security deposit here, $500, let's say, right? And that's going to be upon association application. Okay. There you go. We just put upon association application, right? But that goes to the association, not to the client. Okay. If there's a pet deposit, that's also a move-in date. Let's say it's a $200 pet deposit. That's also on move-in date if they accept pets, right? But that's where you're going to put that. Okay? And you'll notice that as you put the money here, it sums it up right here. Okay? The paragraph 2 deposit will be credited as follows. Okay, now this is something that everybody gets confused, okay? It says the paragraph 2 deposit will be credited as follows. This is paragraph 2, okay? Right here, 2. The deposit is how much? It's $1,300. So all you need to do is, if you know that this is our commission, but it's also the first month's rent, we're going to click that first month's rent and put $1,300. That's it. You don't need to put $1,300 or $1,300 here, because now you're saying that deposit 2 is actually $3,900. No, paragraph 2 is only $1,300. So you only have to worry about placing $1,300 here. Okay? So, number 6, the rent payments. How are you going to do the rent payments? Okay? So let's say here, tenant will pay total rent for the lease term of total rent. $1,300 by 12 months, 1 year, $15,600. Okay? Then it's going to say tenant will also pay total taxes on the rent. Well, the tenant isn't paying any taxes on this rent, so you could put 0 there or just not put anything, okay? Then it's going to say the tenant will pay the rent, including taxes, as follows. In full, completely, $15,600? No, they're going to be paying monthly on the first day of the month, $1,300. Okay, this date here should be the move-in date. If it's the last day of the month, the first is okay. If it's the 15th, you're gonna put the 15th day. But whatever day your rent starts in is gonna be what day you put here. Okay. So here I'm gonna put the first because it's technically only one day here, and it's gonna be in the amount of $1,300. Okay. Pets. If pets are accepted, you're going to click on permitted and you're going to put what type of pet the client is going to have. Is it a dog? Is it a cat? Okay. Um, and you can put how many pounds as well. That's not a problem. So dog, 15 pounds. Okay. Um, if they are not allowed, you're going to click on prohibited. Okay. Smoking is always prohibited. Okay. If your client smokes, that's fine. No, no discrimination here. But if you're gonna smoke, you gotta smoke outside. You cannot smoke inside the house. Okay. You will be surprised on how much smoking inside the house makes that house stink. It goes everywhere. It sticks into the air conditioning vent. It sticks into the walls, into the floors, and it is almost impossible to get that smell out afterwards. Okay. So smoking prohibited always. Okay. Utilities. What utilities? Number 9 talks about what utilities come with the property. Tenants will pay for all utility services during the lease term. Okay? Connection charges and deposits for activating the connections. Okay? Except for what comes included in the property. Well, in the listing, we know here where it says rent pay includes pool maintenance, wastewater, and yard maintenance is included, right? We could copy this right here and just paste it. Perfect. Okay? So if nothing is included, you don't have to put anything there. But if your client wants water included and it is not included, you will put that the client wants water here because this is the offer that your client is sending the owner. Okay, we understand that water is not included, but hey, I'm gonna offer you $1,300, but I want you to include the water as well. Okay, so this is where you're going to put that. Okay, if it's included already, you're gonna put it here. If it's not included, but the client wants it, you're also gonna put it here. Okay. Maintenance. The landlord will be responsible for maintenance and repair of the property, except for you can place whatever you want here. I always put AC filter change, maintenance under $150, light bulb and smoke detector battery change if needed, right? So this is what I place there. If you don't want to put anything on the maintenance, that's fine too. You don't have to put anything on the maintenance. But whatever you put here is basically what your client, the tenant, is agreeing to maintain. Okay. Number 11 speaks about the association approval. We know that there's an association here in this property. So we're going to say that the lease is contingent upon the condominium, cooperative, or homeowners association approval. Okay. The tenant, our client, is going to pay a non-refundable application fee of $100, right? That's what the listing says, that the application is $100. We don't know, again, if it's $100 per person, if it's $100 per application, if it's $100 per married couple. We don't know that yet. We will find out as soon as we sign the lease and we get in contact with the association. But we need first the approval of the owner before we get the approval of the association. Okay? And we're going to make the application for the association approval by what day? Guys, we have to be realistic with this date, okay? If we know that the association takes 1 to 2 weeks to approve, because that's what it says in the listing, right? And we want to move in September 30th, we are not going to put the 28th, okay? Because that's not going to give us enough time for association approval. We're going to put a date here that makes sense. So if today is the 8th, and we want to get a lease signed by the 10th, then let's be realistic and let's say, hey, by September 14th, the association will have our application and the documents it needs to make the approval. Okay? So they have their 2 weeks to be able to approve us in time. Okay? That's what that line is saying. And now it's saying if the approval is not obtained before the beginning of the lease term, which the beginning of the lease term is September 30th. So if we do not have an approval from the association by September 30th, either party may terminate the lease by written notice to the other at any time before the association approves. Which means, let's say September 30th comes and we still do not have an approval. At that point, our client can say, forget it, I'm out of the contract, I don't want to rent this anymore. Or the owner can say, forget it, the association's taking too long, I'm not going to rent the property anymore. Okay? And if that's the case, then the tenant will receive all the deposits back. Okay? But the association must not have had approved. Okay? If the association approves before September 30th, you're stuck. That's it. Everybody must move forward with the process. Okay? If the association has approved and the deposit has been made and the lease has been signed, everybody must move forward. Okay? So that is what that is saying there. If the lease is not terminated, the rent will abate until the association approval is obtained. So September 30th comes, there's no approval, but your client and the owner decide to wait and say, you know what, let's wait another week. And, at that point, we'll decide, right? So within that other week, the association finally approves, well, then the terms of the contract will change to whatever date the association approved and the client moved in. Okay? Additional terms. Number 12 is important too. These are the terms that your client wants additionally to this. Okay? So if your client says, I love the property, but I want it to be painted before I move in, you must put that here on number 12. Tenant requests property to be painted prior to move-in. Okay? You are putting it there. You are putting it so that it can be understood. Okay? If the tenant wants it to be fumigated, put it there. Tenant requests property be fumigated prior to move-in. Maybe you walked in and there was roaches everywhere or something, right? Tenant requests property to be cleaned, professionally cleaned prior to move-in. Put it there, guys. Do not expect that it will get done if you don't put it here, okay? I've had many tenants, move into a property where it wasn't painted and it wasn't cleaned, and they say, why isn't it painted? Why isn't it cleaned? You never put it on the contract. I don't have to do it. So please make sure that whatever additional terms your client wants, that it is placed here. Okay? 13 talks about background credit reference checks. Okay? It just basically states that the landlord has a decision to make determined by the tenant's background credit or reference check. If they do not accept the background credit or reference check, the landlord may terminate the contract prior to signing the lease by refunding the deposit to the tenant. Therefore, all parties will be released under this contract. Basically stating, we're going to send you this offer, and along with this offer, we're sending you the supporting documentation of our tenants, which is background, credit report, income statements, right? And you're going to look at this. The owner's going to look at this and decide, I like them and I want to rent it to them, so I'm going to move forward, or I don't like this documentation, I don't feel comfortable with them, we're not moving forward. Okay, that's basically what it's saying in number 13. Number 14 talks about service member status. Is the prospective tenant of a service member, is the prospective tenant a service member at the current moment, meaning they are in the military right now, they are serving actively in the military, okay? If they are, you must put yes. If they are not, you must put no, Okay? The reason this is there is because military servicemen are protected under Fair Housing Acts or Fair Housing laws. As a military person, you may be sent off to another country or another state at any given time, depending on what the situation is, right? So by explaining or letting them know that, hey, yes, they are service members, the owner must realize that this contract might get terminated prior to a year if the government decides to move them out of the state. Okay? So, if so, the landlord must provide written approval or denial of the application within 7 days of the receipt. Meaning, if the owner decides, no, I don't want to rent it to this person, he has to write written reason why. And if it is because they are a military person, that is discrimination. Okay? And if they get approved, then it just needs to be the lease agreement that is written approval that they are approved. Okay? The denial letter, though, does need to say state the reason why they are not being approved. Okay? Number 15 talks about failure to perform. The tenant, if they fail to perform any promises of this contract, the deposit paid by the tenant may be retained, or if the landlord or for the landlord has agreed upon liquidated damages, right? Meaning the tenant needs to do everything the contract is stating, and the landlord must do everything the contract is stating too. We all have a responsibility. Okay? If either one of us fails to do something, at that point, if the tenant fails, the landlord does have the right to retain the deposit as liquidated damages, or if the landlord fails to do something, the tenant then at that point has the right to get their money back and be released from the contract. Okay? The brokers in the real estate transaction are here. Okay, so this is who is doing the brokerage. Me, and here's my brokerage company, and the listing agent and their brokerage company. These are the people that will be receiving commission for this contract. Okay, that is what that's saying. The final page just basically says the contract is not a lease. Okay, once the parties enter a lease, then the lease will be the one that is the strongest of both legal contracts. Okay, the tenant signs here. I do not recommend you put their email and phone number. I have seen some agents tell me, sorry, I'm not going to accept your clients, thank you for your offer. And a few days later, because I have placed their phone number here and their email, the actual agent contacts them and says, hey, are you still interested in renting the lease? I can do it for you. So I don't put their phone number here at all, just to avoid that. So don't worry about that. So tenant will sign, prospective landlord will sign, and they have to initial every one of those pages, okay? That is the offer for rental, okay? Any questions on what I just went over and how to fill that out? Great. Okay. Make sure that when you're done filling this out, you press this save button, or else you're going to lose everything that you put. Okay, so once you save it, you can close out, and now you're going to want to send this document to get signed electronically by your client. Okay? You're going to click the contract to lease box. Okay? And then you're going to click up here where it says e-sign. Okay? E-sign is a system that the Association of Realtors gives to us through Form Simplicity. It does cost money. It costs $72 a year, which roughly works out to be about $6.33 a month, something like that. It's worth it, guys. It is one of the most important tools that I use almost daily to be able to get signatures from my clients or anything signed by my client. Okay? It is a great program. I'm going to show you how to use it, but it does cost $72. Okay? So once you click the document that you want e-signed, you're going to click the e-sign, And you're just going to click here where it says create new session. Okay, don't worry about these people. The system just automatically picks up the transactors of the property, but we don't want them to sign. We're looking for the signatures of our client. So we're going to click where it says create new session. Okay, always create new session. All right, once you click that, it should directly take you to the program, or it may give you this page. If it gives you this page, don't worry about it. You're going to click right here in the middle, one that says here, the middle line, and then it'll take you to the e-sign. Okay, I'm going to show you how your client is going to receive the email and how easy it is for them to sign as well. Okay, I'm also going to show you in this e-sign how when you have more than 2 people signing, how you're going to add that third person. Okay, so it's going to automatically put the transaction name, and here you're just going to put offer for rent. Okay, let's just put that. This is going to be the body of the email. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Client, right? Whatever. Okay. Here's my offer. Please make sure that you sign it. Okay. Then it's going to ask you here signer sequencing. Do you want to send it to one signer at a time? Which means if you have 3 people signing, it's going to send it to signer number 1. Once signer number 1 finishes signing, the system will automatically send it to signer number 2. And then once signer number 2 finishes signing, the system will send it to signer number 3. Okay? Or send to all of them at once. Okay? I like to use the send to all of them at once, because if they all have it at the same time, I know they all received it at the same time. Okay? If you want to include yourself as a signer, you can check off this box, and the system will automatically send you the offer to sign. Okay? I'm not going to send that now. Okay? These other ones, you don't have to worry about it. Don't worry about reminders. You should be the reminder to your client. As soon as you have an offer that needs to be signed, you should be telling your client, hey, I sent you the offer. Please sign it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll guide you through it. Okay? I'm going to show you, I will show you how they see it, so you know exactly how to guide them through it. Okay? Send to all signers at once. This is what I use. Then you're going to click next. When you click next, it's going to give you now this option to add a signer. Who is going to sign this session? To add a signer, you're going to click here where it says add signer. Then it's going to ask you for first name, last name, email address. Okay, that's all you need to put there. And then you can press save. Now, the system does give you a chance to authenticate your client. So if you know your client is somebody who is very, let's say, nervous about having their information out there or being sent anything, you can authenticate them. You can keep them safe by clicking here and putting password, and then the system will allow you to include a password. And then you can call that person, right, and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, your password is 1234, okay, or whatever, okay? So whenever you receive your email saying that you're ready to sign, it's going to ask you for the password, and that's the password you need to put in, okay? So it does give you that option. If you don't want it, don't worry about it, okay? So once you put their first name, last name, email address, it's going to give you this button, save. You're going to save it, okay? Once you save it, from then on out, that person is going to be saved under your address book, okay? So you will always have that person's name, last name, and email address under your address book. So in case they need to sign something a second time or a third time, you no longer have to add signer. You can just go to address book and locate their name, okay? I'm going to use me so you guys see, okay? Put Albert, and you'll see all the Alberts I have saved already, okay? If at some point you want to delete somebody from your address book, you could just click here and delete, and it'll say, I'm deleting this person, okay? So this one I'm going to delete too because I don't need it. Okay, so here are the 3 Alberts, quotation marks, that will be signing this document. Okay, and I'm going to show you why I do 3. Okay, so once I continue, you'll see all 3 appear here. Okay, now I'm going to click next. Now, the system recognizes the document that we are signing because it is a document from Form Simplicity. Therefore, it understands that each document that has Form Simplicity has a signature line for 2 people that are tenants and a signature line for 2 people that are landlords. But we have 3 people here. So we need to manually add the third person. But first, we're going to include the first person in tenant number 2 and the second person in tenant, I'm sorry, the first person in tenant number 1 and the second person in tenant number 2. That's it. Okay? We don't care about the landlord's signature because we're only getting our tenant's signature. Once we get our tenant's signature, we will send the documents, excuse me, to the listing agent so the listing agent can get the signature of the landlord. Okay, but we are only concerned with our tenant's signature right now. So please make sure you read correctly and you place the names under the correct subject line for them. Okay, then you're going to click next. The system will say there are signing locations, the landlord locations, right, that have not been assigned to a signer. Do you want to continue like this and remove these locations from the templates? Yes, we want to continue because we're not concerned about the landlord's signature. We just want the tenant signature right now, right? So we chose 2 tenants, and the system is telling us, okay, well, those 2 have 10 locations that need to be signed in this document. So it's a very smart system. It recognizes how many signatures are needed, right? Then we go to next. And here is our offer that we need signed, right? It's already filled out with everything that we filled out upon it. And you'll notice the system has included the areas where the 2 tenants need to sign. But we have 3, right? We've said that. So how do we include the third person? If you look up here, you'll see a toolbar that says signer. Okay? Once you click the drop-down box, you'll see the 3 people. Okay? We know we already put the first one. We know we put the second one. Now we need to put the third one. So we're going to click the third person's name. And now this signer, all of these tools are under this person's name. So we're going to go to the location where that third signer needs to sign. And we're going to grab that initial. And we're just going to put it somewhere close to there. Okay? So there's the third one. Then we're going to go to the next page and do the same thing. Next page, do the same thing with the initials. And then the signature, we need a signature too. So we're going to grab the signature and just put it somewhere where, you know, it all makes sense, right? So if you notice, these 2 here just say the time, or I mean the date, I'm sorry. But the one that I just included says date and time. If you want to change that just to date, you're going to click here on the settings tab there, and you're going to go change that to date only and save. And now you'll see that they're saved, right? You'll know that all 3 signers are there because Albert Test, Albert Simbaco, Albert M. Simbaco. And the date even shows the initials of those signers, AMS, AS, AT, right? So we are aware now that all 3 signers have a location to sign and they have a location to put their initials, okay? So we're looking at this document, right? And we noticed that we made a mistake, let's just say, right? So let's say that we forgot to put a pet deposit. Let's say that pets are allowed, but we forgot to put the pet deposit here, right? Oh my God. Well, I can no longer edit this document, okay? So in order for me to make a change here, I have to use these toolbars here, okay? So we're gonna move this add text here by dragging it down to the pet deposit area, and we're gonna put $200, okay? This allows us to make it smaller or extend it depending on how much you're going to write. You can also grab it and you can move it to the area it's at to kind of keep it symmetrical with everything, right? So now $200, and it's going to be due on move-in date, right? So now we got to write here move-in date, okay? And we're just going to grab it and just put it right there, right? So now we've added the pet deposit move-in date. Here we had put prohibited. We want to strike that through, right? Because we can't erase now, so we're going to strike that through. Okay, and we're going to use this check mark, and we're going to check mark where it says permitted. And then we're going to add text and put what type of dog it is, right? If it's a dog, right? 20-pound dog, right? So there you go. Now we were able to edit this document using these tools, okay? If you guys see that there is a lot of changes in your documents, my recommendation is to just cancel this, go back to the original form page in Form Simplicity, and make the changes there so it looks nicer when you're sending it out to sign, okay? If it's just one or two things that you're changing, not a big deal. If you're full of all these red marks and blue marks everywhere, just start all over, right? With the contract. The contract's already saved, so you just have to make the changes wherever you need to change, right? Any changes you do, though, will require initials from your clients. So in this case, I made this change here. I'm going to need initials from all three for them to realize there was a change. So what am I going to do? I'll grab initial for AT. I'll change this to the second one. Initials for AS. I'll change this to the first one. And now I have all three initials. Okay? So that is how you use the tools here and the signature lines and dates and initial line here. Okay? And those are going to be mostly the tools you're going to use at all times, right? If you guys want to highlight something, it does allow you to do that. So for instance, this additional terms that we said we want to make sure the property is painted, we want to make sure that the owner sees that we're requesting that. Well, we're going to highlight it, right? Let's get this highlighter here, and let's just put it right there on that line. And now we have highlighted the area that we want the owner to make sure he is seen, okay? We can also underline it if you want to underline it. That doesn't need an initial for a change, because at this point we're not making any changes. We're making it known that we want to make sure they see that, okay? So once we're done filling in the initials correctly, making sure everything is good, we're going to now go next. The system's going to say, hey, you added some changes on this original contract, and if you continue, it cannot be removed, okay? So we're going to put, yes, that's fine. We want to keep those things there. And now these things that we added or we changed on the contract are permanently into the contract. We can no longer take them out, okay? Then we're going to click next. The system is going to allow us to review this document and make sure that we're okay and we're happy, right? We got all the signatures, we got all the initials, all the dates, we're good. Now we're going to click next. And then that same, in that first area that we started the system where, you know, we put the name of the subject field, it's going to take us back to the messaging area of that email to include whatever we forgot. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Client. Please find contract to lease attached for your signature. Let me know if you need any assistance. Right? I think I spelled that wrong, but yeah, there you go. Okay, so once you're done, you're going to click finish. And now the system's going to send an email to everybody there, right? In this case, the system has realized that I am a signer on this, so the system's going to automatically ask me, do you want to sign now or not? But the way your client is going to see it is in this format, okay? they're going to get something that says Albert Simbaco, or in this case, whatever your name is, has invited your client to sign the offer for rent. And what they got to do is click right here where it says review and sign. Once they click where it says review and sign, it's going to take them to this website. Okay? And this is what your client is going to see. They're going to see their name, their initials. They're going to have the option to change how their signature is going to look on the contract. Okay? And then in number 3, they have to agree to the disclosure. And the disclosure basically states, hey, you understand that this signature and this initial will now constitute a legal signature on your part. Okay? You can no longer say later, that's not my signature, that's an electronic signature. By agreeing to this disclosure, you are agreeing that this signature now becomes the legal signature for the contract. Okay? So once they check off that box, they're going to hit start. And then once they hit start, they'll see this little grid here. They can just click on where it says got it. And then they'll see the actual contract that you're sending them. Okay? They're going to click here where it says start, and it's going to take them directly to where they have to sign. All they need to do is click the box. Next, click the box. Next, click the box. Next, click the box. Next, click the box. It'll take them to every box they need to do. Once you click it and you hit next to all the boxes, the system's going to review that that person has signed everywhere they need to sign, and it'll give them this box that says all required fields have been completed. Would you like to complete your signing session? They click yes, and now it says congratulations, your signing session is complete. And you, as an agent, as their agent that sent them this document, will now receive an email saying, hey, Albert Simbaco has signed the session. So now you know that one of them has signed already. Okay? At this point, the second person should be signing and the third person should be signing what be it, right? But now your clients, 2 of them have signed, the third one has not signed. And your client, you call your client, you say, hey, I'm missing your signature. And they tell you, no, I already signed it. And now you want to verify if that's true or not. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go to Form Simplicity, okay? Let's say you open up your matrix, you go to Form Simplicity right down here, okay? And you're going to go to the actual transaction of that property, okay? When you click on that transaction, you're going to see down here that it says history, okay? If you click history and then you click on the action that says sent, okay? Going to take you to this page again. You're just going to click right here. Now you're going to see an actual summary of that signing session that you sent out. And you're going to see the 3 people that you have sent this document to sign to. And you're going to see here in status who has signed and who hasn't. If they've signed, it says completed. If they haven't signed, it'll say pending or it'll say invited. And at that point, you contact the client and you say, hey, Mr. Client number 1, you haven't signed yet. Let me verify your email address. ... Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. Okay, I'm going to resend this to you. Please make sure that you see it on your email. You just got to click this button here and it'll resend them the email. If for any reason the email address you put is incorrect, you can click this page right here, and now it'll give you the option to edit the email address to the correct one. Then you save it, okay? And then the email address will change here and you can resend to the new email address, okay? So this is how you verify if the signers have signed, okay? Once all the documents have been signed, you will receive an email saying, congratulations, all parties have signed. It'll look similar to this. It'll look like this. Signing completed, and it'll say congratulations, all parties have signed the session. Please download documents now. Then you click here, and all the documents that were signed will show up. And at that point, you can click one by one, and it'll save all the documents to your computer. Why do you want that? Because now you need to send all the documents that your client signed, plus all the documents that are supporting documents like the credit report, the income verification, the rental application. So all that should be saved in your computer. And now you're going to create a new email, okay? You're going to attach the files of everything that was signed and everything that you received from your client. You're going to send it to, hold on. Let's just go here. You're going to send it to the property, right? It's this one. Okay, you're going to send it to the email address of the person. Oh, whoops, sorry. Right here. Copy that. Paste. Sorry. Offer for rent. You can put the address of the property if you want. And then you just write something. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Agent. Please see attached an offer from my client. We saw your property yesterday. My client absolutely loved it. I can guarantee you that my client is going to be a great tenant for your landlord. Let me show you I have their supporting documents attached plus their offer. Please let me know if you have any questions. I really love to make this work. I know the client would be super happy with this property and we'll take care of it. Whatever you want to write, guys. You know, if you want to write something nice to kind of pull on that heartstring or make you be above whatever other agent is sending them an offer, anything is better than here's an offer from my client. Thank you, right? Just make sure you write them a little something, right? Attach all the files here and then you send it. And as soon as you send it, you're going to send an email or a text message to that agent by finding their information here on the listing and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, I just sent you an offer for your rental property from my client. Please let me know if you received it. Sometimes my emails go to spam and I want to make sure that you received it. That's so you can get the engagement from the agent. Okay? Once that agent responds saying, yes, I got it, now you know she received it. Now we have 2 days to get an answer. And you should be following up with this agent every day to get an answer for your client. All right? So, with that being said, that is how you send an offer. Okay? Once your client gets accepted, the other agent is going to say, hey, we're accepting your offer and we're going to send you the lease agreement. Okay? And then they're going to fill out the lease agreement based on whatever the terms are in the offer and whatever new terms were mutually agreed upon. And then at that point, you're going to get it signed by your client using e-sign the same way. Okay, they're going to send it to you by email. Okay, and when they send it to you by email, you're going to download it into your computer. Okay, you're going to go to your form simplicity. Okay, you're going to go to the offer that you made. Okay, the listing or the offer that you made. And now down here in files, you're going to upload a file. Okay, so you're going to click upload the file. All right, you're going to browse for the file. Let's just say the file is one of these. Let's go with, I want to do something just, let's go with that. Okay, you're going to make sure you upload the file. It's going to be here, and then you're going to click Save Files. And now the system is going to save the file down here in this file section. Okay, the difference between this form section and this file section is that the form section are actual forms that you are filling out from Form Simplicity. Okay, the file section are files that you are downloading or uploading into Form Simplicity. The difference is that when you do e-sign, e-sign understands where the signatures need to go on the forms. But e-sign does not understand where signatures need to go on files. It sees it as a blank page. So you're going to have to manually put the initials and the signatures on the documents where it needs to be signed. Just like we did for that third signer that it wasn't included on. Okay? So once you download it, you're going to click that box, go to e-sign, and start the whole process again with the e-sign and the email and putting the signatures where they need to go for your client to sign. At that point, the system will send the contract to your client so that they can sign it. And then once that is signed, it is considered an executed lease agreement. And at that point, now we can go to the association to get the association application and give the association the documents that they need, as well as a copy of this lease agreement that has already been accepted by the owner. Okay? We will wait the term it takes for the association to approve. And once that association approves, now we're able to contact the agent and say, hey, we're good to go. The association's approved. We want to move in. And what we're going to do is a walkthrough. Okay? The walkthrough form, you will find it here in Form Simplicity. Okay? You can just go to blank forms. Okay? And you're going to go to Forms Package right here. And you'll see something that says walkthrough rents right here. Okay? So that walkthrough rents, I'm not going to click on it because what it's going to do is going to save it automatically to my computer. But what it's going to look like is this. Okay. So what it's going to look like is, oops, this is it. Walk through desktop. Okay. So it's going to look like this, okay? It's going to say the living room, the kitchen, and what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the property with your client, and your client's going to say, okay, the floors are okay, the walls are okay, light fixtures are okay. Oh, there's a problem with the window here, it's cracked. So here they're going to put window and living room cracked, right? Everything else is okay, kitchen's good. Oh, the cabinets are loose, right? Microwave missing handle. So we're going to notate every little problem that the property has when we move in, so that way, the day that the listing or the tenant moves out, they will not be held responsible for these items that we have notated on the walkthrough. Okay? Once all those items that have issues have been notated, we're going to make sure that we give a copy to that listing agent, so that listing agent can send to the owner, and it can be signed by the landlord and signed by the tenant, and everybody is on the same page. I also recommend you guys take pictures and send pictures along with it so that there's a correlation to what it is we're talking about. Okay? And at that point, that day, your client will also need to bring in the remaining amount, okay? Because they've already paid the first month in escrow, right? Which is in our office. They need to come in with the remaining amount, which is the other 2 months, and the pet deposit, right? So 26 plus 200, $2,800. It needs to be in the form of a money order or a cashier's check in the name of the landlord. They will then turn in that check to the listing agent or the landlord if he is present, and the listing agent and landlord will then give them the keys to the property. And from that point on, that property is now your tenant's, and any issues are between tenant and landlord. They no longer need to call you to say, hey, this isn't getting done. They have to talk directly to the landlord at that point, or the property manager of the property. Okay? And that is how you complete your rentals. Okay? It is a long process. It's actually easier than it sounds, to be honest with you. But that is how the lease goes from beginning to end, and everything you need to do in between. Okay? So That's all I got for you guys for the lease class today. If you guys have any questions, I will be online for another 10 minutes to answer those questions for you. If not, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you guys learned the mastering of lease. This is recorded and it will be put on YouTube probably by tomorrow. So please feel free to look there if you need to review anything. And thank you very much for all of you joining me today.
All right.